My name is Fiona. I am 35 years old, and I live in a quiet apartment in the center of the city. Every morning, I wake up early, drink a cup of coffee, and take the train to the bank where I work. My job is important to me. I am responsible, organized, and people trust me. I like the rhythm of my days, the sense of control, the feeling that I am building something for myself. My husband's name is Jason. He is 37 and works at a large company. Jason is kind, intelligent, and strong. Everyone likes him. He always knows what to say, and he makes people laugh easily. We have been married for 6 years. From the outside, our life seems perfect. We have good jobs, a comfortable home, and we love each other. Friends often tell me how lucky I am, and sometimes, I agree. But sometimes, when the house is quiet and Jason is asleep, I feel a strange emptiness inside me. I look around at everything we built and ask myself why it still feels incomplete. I cannot explain it. It is not sadness, not anger, just a quiet feeling that something important is missing, though I don't yet know what it is. Every morning begins the same way for me. I wake up before sunrise, make a cup of coffee, and stand by the window for a few quiet minutes before the noise of the city starts. Then I take the train to the bank, reading emails, or watching people rush to work. I like the order in my life, the steady routine that gives me a sense of peace. My days are busy but full of purpose, and when I finish work, I feel proud of what I do. Jason often waits for me at home. He smiles when I walk through the door, asks about my day, and makes dinner while we talk about small things. He is a good husband, kind and reliable. Sometimes, he surprises me with flowers or takes me out for dinner. I know he loves me deeply. But there is one dream that lives strongly in his heart. He wants to become a father. He often talks about having children, about how wonderful it would be to hear laughter in our home. When we visit his family, his mother always asks with a warm smile, "When will you give us a grandchild?" I smile politely, pretending it does not hurt. Everyone laughs, and the moment passes, but inside, I feel the quiet pressure growing stronger each time. Our life looks peaceful, yet beneath that peace, I sense a small crack forming, an invisible line between Jason's dream and my silence. One evening, after dinner, Jason looked unusually serious. He turned off the television and said softly, "Fiona, we need to talk." My heart began to beat faster. I already knew what he wanted to say, but I still hoped he would speak about something else. He looked straight at me and said, "I want us to have a baby." His voice was calm, but his eyes were full of expectation. I tried to smile, to change the subject, but Jason didn't let it go. "We've been married for 6 years," he continued. "It's time, Fiona. Don't you want a family?" I felt trapped between his hope and my truth. I looked at him and finally said, "It's not my dream." For a moment, silence filled the room. Jason stared at me as if he didn't recognize me. Then he said quietly, "You're cold." Those words cut deep. I wasn't cold, I was scared. I loved him, but I also loved my freedom, my career, my sense of self. That night, he went to bed without another word, and I sat in the dark, feeling small and misunderstood. After that conversation, things between us changed. Jason stopped talking about small, happy things. His mother noticed too and started calling more often, asking if everything was all right. Friends made little jokes about babies, about time running out. Every comment felt like a stone on my chest. I smiled on the outside, but inside, I was shrinking. At the bank, I met a new client named Ryan. He was friendly, polite, and easy to talk to. One afternoon, while discussing some documents, he mentioned that he had never wanted children. His words surprised me. It was the first time someone said out loud what I had always felt. We began to talk after work, just for coffee, just for company. Ryan listened to me without judgment. He didn't tell me what I should want, he simply understood. With him, I felt seen, alive, and honest. There was no secret plan, no affair, just a connection that made me remember who I was before I became someone's wife. But peace never lasts. One evening, Jason picked up my phone from the table. A message from Ryan appeared on the screen. It was innocent, but Jason's face turned red. "Why is Ryan sending you messages?" he shouted. I froze. Before I could answer, he demanded, "Is he the reason you don't want children?" His voice was full of pain and anger. I tried to speak, but no words came out. Jason didn't wait. "You've already made your choice," he said. And just like that, everything we had built began to fall apart. The days that followed were heavy and quiet. Jason barely spoke to me, and when he did, his words were short and distant. The warmth that once filled our home was gone. We used to laugh about small things, about the way I always forgot my keys, about how he burned toast every morning. Now, silence lived between us. At work, the air felt different too. My colleagues whispered when I passed by. They had seen Ryan visiting the bank again, and rumors began to spread. I could feel their eyes following me, judging me. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. Every corner of my life was now filled with doubt and guilt. One evening, after another long day, I sat in my office long after everyone had gone home. I looked at my reflection in the window and hardly recognized the woman staring back at me. Her eyes looked tired, her smile was gone. Am I selfish for wanting a different life? I whispered to myself. Or honest for saying what I feel? The questions echoed inside me, and I had no answer. I wanted to believe that being true to myself was enough, but the loneliness made me question everything. When I came home that night, Jason was waiting. He stood in the middle of the living room, his hands in his pockets, his eyes full of exhaustion. "We can't keep living like this," he said quietly. "I need an answer. Either we start a family, or we end this." His words fell like a final stone. I wanted to beg him to understand, but I knew he wouldn't. His dream and mine were no longer the same. Later, when the house was dark and Jason was asleep, I sat alone on the couch. The soft light from a lamp fell over our wedding photos on the wall. I looked at our smiling faces, so full of hope. We had promised each other forever, but back then, neither of us knew how hard forever could be. Tears filled my eyes as I touched the frame. I realized that if I said yes, if I gave up my truth to save this marriage, I would lose something even greater, myself. I could live in comfort, surrounded by love that no longer felt real, or I could face the pain of honesty. At that moment, I understood what I had to do. My heart trembled, but my mind was clear. I would say no. Not out of anger, not out of pride, but because it was the only way to remain who I truly was. The next morning, I woke before the sun. The house was quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy but peaceful at the same time. Jason was sitting at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee in his hands. His eyes looked tired, almost defeated, as if he already knew what was coming. I sat across from him and took a deep breath. My hands were trembling, but my voice was steady. Jason, I said softly, I love you, but I cannot be the woman you want me to be. He didn't speak. For a long moment, we just looked at each other. His eyes filled with tears, and I felt mine do the same. I wanted to reach for him, to hold his hand like before, but I knew it would only make goodbye harder. I thought we could find a way, he whispered, his voice breaking. So did I answered. But sometimes love isn't enough. There was no shouting, no anger, only quiet sadness and understanding. We both knew it was the end. I went to the bedroom and packed a small bag. As I closed the door, Jason remained still at the table. I walked outside into the cool morning air and made my way to the train station. The sky was painted with pale light, and the city was just beginning to wake. I sat by the window as the train started to move. I didn't cry. I just watched the world passing by and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, peace. Freedom can be painful, but it is real. It is honest. And as the train carried me away, I knew I had chosen the truth, even if it meant walking alone. Now I understand that saying no doesn't make you selfish. It means you respect your truth. For many years, I believed that love meant giving, sacrificing, and always trying to make the other person happy. But love without honesty slowly turns into silence, and silence can destroy even the strongest bond. Saying no was not the end of love, it was the beginning of self-respect. When I think about Jason now, I don't feel anger. I remember the good moments, the laughter, and the dreams we once shared. But I also remember the emptiness I felt when I ignored my own voice. Sometimes love means letting go, not because you stop caring, but because you start caring about yourself. It is not an easy lesson to learn. It hurts, it leaves scars, but it also brings clarity. I have learned that peace doesn't always look like happiness. Sometimes peace is quiet mornings, simple routines, and knowing that you are living honestly. I no longer have everything I once dreamed of, but I have something far more precious, the courage to choose myself. And that, I realize now, is a different kind of love. A love that begins within, and one that will never fade. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for learning English through stories with us, and see you in the next lesson.